Hey everyone, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist. Longer type of video this time. Must watch video, guys, for everyone. Dude, even for you, the troll that always gives me a thumb down on every single video, watch this video as well. Especially if you own a firearm, you have to watch this video. 10 tips before and after a self-defense shooting. It's going to be working for most Western civilization countries, especially for US. There are differences within countries, even within states, so do know your laws. I did receive some classes during my firearms instructor course with a judge that explained us how things work. We also took classes with a forensics doctor. Was pretty enlightening in terms of how things go down later on. My wife, she's a lawyer, so she gave me some advice as well. There's also stuff that friends of mine have gone through after shootings that is taken into account too. There's good articles online, some are better than others. Some are actually pretty bad and give awful advice that will make things worse for you rather than better. There's a lawyer that does videos on YouTube explaining why you should not talk to the police. Good videos, look those up on YouTube. Let's get started. First of all, one, make sure you survive. Just because someone broke into your house, you put a couple of rounds into him and he goes down, doesn't mean that the fight is over. Make sure that the attacker is no longer a threat, that he's down for good, he has no weapon nearby to attack you with. Make sure he's alone. You don't know if there's another home invader in the next room, an accomplice of him, or if there's others outside just waiting to rush in. Keep yourself safe, keep your family safe. If not, nothing of this matters if you get shot or wounded or killed or even one of your loved ones. Make sure you survive the gunfight before starting with all this stuff. 2, stay put or not. Generally speaking, most cases, you have to stay in the scene. There's a home invasion, you shoot someone, stay there. Don't leave the scene to look for family members, friends, whatever, stay put. There's a shooting on the street as well. Wait until the authorities arrive. The only case in which you don't do that, and it's okay not to do that, is when your life is obviously at risk by staying there. There's a carjack attempt. You shoot a couple of attackers. There's more of them. You leave. You escape. That is one of the cases in which your life is obviously at risk by staying there, and it's understandable that you left the scene. Of course, as soon as you leave, contact the authorities. 3, call 911. Some places it's 999 or some other different number. Then call an ambulance, and of course, call a lawyer. That's the order in which you want to do things. If you call your lawyer first, maybe reflecting poorly on you, you know, there's a guy there wounded, and instead of calling for an ambulance, you first call for your lawyer. It's gonna be the kind of thing that you don't want. And as soon as you do this, in some countries, in US, you can call 911 and request for an ambulance as well. Do that always. In some other countries, guys, and this is for you, some other countries you have to dial actually different numbers. It's one number for the police and another number for medical emergencies, and you actually have to call those 2 numbers, all right? And there is a little bit of a debate regarding if you should provide first aid or not. Some people say you should, some people say you should not. I am more leaning towards not doing it unless you obviously have expertise in the medical field. Why is that? First of all, this person just tried to kill you. That's why you shot him. Okay? You only shoot in self-defense when you are in obvious fear for your life. That's the only case in which you use lethal force. So if this person tried to kill you and he's still alive on the floor, maybe approaching him, it could be a pretty bad idea. He's still alive, he could still have a weapon to attack you with. Second, you're messing with the scene. You're getting blood of this person all over you. It's gonna be trickier to prove what happened in there if you get in contact with that person. Third, and this is pretty important, you may think you're helping this person that is now down in the floor, and you're actually opening a huge legal can of worms against you. This person may later say that because of your actions, his wounds became worse, or he suffered enormous amounts of pain, or he was left paralyzed or impaired in some way because of your actions, which you thought were helping him, were actually not. The only case in which this is not so clear is, for example, if you are an ER doctor, you shoot someone, and you are perfectly capable of providing some type of first aid, and you don't do so, and that may be the case in which they say, okay, why didn't you help this person when you obviously had the training to do so? If you don't have the training, you can say, look, I know how to do CPR and that's it. I don't know how to treat a gunshot wound, and I don't have any expert training towards that. So what I did is just call an ambulance, explain what happened, and let experts deal with it. That's going to be making a lot of sense. 4. Don't touch, don't move anything. Well, if you shoot someone in your porch, just drag him in, and it's going to be a good shooting inside your home. Dude, if you drag a guy that has a gunshot wound, you're going to be leaving a trail of blood from the place he went down to where he's left. Even if it's a small, very little drop of blood, it's going to be proof of that. Don't tamper with the scene in any way whatsoever. It's going to be working against you, no doubt at all about that. Don't touch anything. Don't move anything. You're not going to be tricking anyone. Forensics can prove absolutely everything. The angle in which bullets went in, that's obvious. If someone was shot in the floor, if someone was shot standing, if someone was shot with his hands up, pretty important. He has his hands up, you shoot him, it's going to be proven that that happened. You can even prove if the guy died by a shot and then he was shot later after that, after he was dead, after he was down. Everything can be proved with forensics. Don't be misguided about that. Especially don't listen to internet commandos or gun range commandos or gun store commandos that think they know what they're talking about and they have received no proper training, briefing about all this stuff. 5. Take photos, videos, witness ID, phone numbers. Have a good cell phone with a good camera. Take plenty of photos of the person that attacked you, of the weapon he was using. Take photos a little bit further away so as to show the general scene of where he is. Take a few photos further away so as to show more of the general place. Put your video on and film all around you. Anyone that is approaching, film everyone, 360 degrees, everything around you. Again, a good camera helps a lot. Witnesses. Here is important, don't talk to anyone, especially don't give any details. People, bystanders that may be there, may approach you, ask if you're okay. Just request for the police. Ask for them to get the police there. But don't give any details. Don't try not talking at all. Anything that you say to them may be used against you later on. Do take their numbers, their phone numbers and their names. If someone approaches you and is kind enough to care for you, say, please, could you give me your number and your phone, your name and your phone number for when the police arrive. Maybe that person has to leave later on, or maybe he gets cold feet later and he leaves. But if you have his name and if you took a video of everyone around, it's going to be easier to ID those witnesses. All right. Point number 6, when cops come, put your gun down. That goes without saying. You should not have your firearm in your hand when the cops arrive. There's been a shooting, you're standing there with a firearm. If you have a handgun, you have a holster, reholster your weapon. That's it. If they later ask if you have a firearm, you say yes, it's in my hip, you don't move your hands at all. The police officer will just take it away from you probably, or not. You just if he asks, you say yes. If you have your firearm, explain where it is without touching anything. If it was 5 a.m., you're butt naked, or you have just your underwear and you have a shotgun, and this happened in your front porch, just leave the shotgun. When you see the police arriving, just leave the shotgun, step away a few feet so as to make it obvious that you're not a threat to anyone. Right? Act very calmly, move very, very slowly. Don't move any threatening movements at all. 7. Don't say a thing. Ask for a lawyer. Here is where there's a little bit more of, some people say just keep it very simple, just say this person attacked me, or just don't give much details. Some guys say don't say anything at all. As the saying goes, anything that you say can and will be used against you. Nothing you say is going to be used in your favor. That goes without saying. Alright, if anything you say can and will be used against you, there's really nothing that you can say that's going to be improving you much at all. There are, some smaller communities where you even know the police officers and such, and you feel more comfortable. Even then, don't give any details. Keep it as short as possible, or don't talk at all. Masad Ayub, who is an expert in this field, he says just say this person attacked me, I will sign a complaint, and I want to talk with a lawyer. After talking with a lawyer, I will give my full cooperation. That's what he says in terms of advice. I think that's very good, very reasonable. Now, there's always a possibility, this is going to be a very stressful moment for you. There's always a possibility of messing up. There's always a possibility of saying, well, he attacked me, I shot him, and I did this and that. Of course, the thing you don't want to say is, well, sir, this guy broke into my house, I double tapped him in the chest, shot him once in the head, did a tactical reload, start looking for his friends as we trained in whatever school I went to. That's the kind of thing that's going to be reflecting very poorly on you. Just if you're going to be saying anything, as Mr. Ahiob says, just very simple, he attacked me, I will sign a complaint, you will have my full cooperation after I talk with a lawyer. Or, sir, officer, I really want to talk with a lawyer first, then we will figure things out. But please, I want to talk with a lawyer right now. The more nervous you are, the less you should say, the more you should say, please, officer, I want to talk with a lawyer, and that's just it. Don't say a thing. That would be my advice. Ask request for a lawyer. It is your right. You have the right not to say anything. Use that right and avoid lots of problems. Any little word you say about time, about how many people attacked you, about how things went down, it's going to be used against you, never in your favor. 5. Now, before the shooting, 7 points. Now, before the shooting, 3 little tips to keep in mind. This is something that people do this all correctly, but they forget that there are things you should be doing as of right now, so as to make things better for you later on. Before the shooting, be normal, be proficient. Okay, what do I mean by this? Be proficient is take a firearms class. Generally, you will get some advice in your not only about the actual use of the firearm. Generally, if you go to a self-defense shooting school, you will get some input on your local laws, how things are, which may make a huge difference in the outcome of this. So it's not only about knowing how to use a firearm, it's also about knowing how things are in your location. Be normal. This is pretty important. If you are the neighborhood's gun nut, if everyone thinks that you're kind of crazy and you're just waiting to shoot someone, you're just waiting for the opportunity of someone breaking into your house and shooting him, if you cannot stop babbling about how you will shoot a minority because they're always out there to get you, and you genuinely sound like a nutcase, it's gonna be reflecting not only poorly on you, it's gonna be setting a general precedent, a general image of who you are and what you are all about, that it's not good. Some people suggest having say some of your friends rush over, some of your gun friends rush over to the scene and cover everything. You are going to be judged, if this goes to a trial, and it generally will be that the case, you're going to be judged by society. Society is not always like you are. I don't know if you get that. It's the society may frown upon things that you don't think anything about. Alright, so be as normal as you can in your general life. In spite of doing whatever training you like doing, whatever preparedness you like doing, keep a normal profile. Make sure that if anyone talks to your neighbors, they only had good things to say about you. He's a very nice guy, he always sets hello, he always offers his help. No, he's not a nutcase. That's very, very important. 2. Shoot to stop, never to wound. And this is something that I've heard from actually very kind, good people. Many of them not even gun owners. Some that really have no idea how this works. And this goes along with lack of proper training, guys. Can't you just shoot his weapon out of his hand? That's what someone told me that once. Can you just shoot him in the leg? If he comes in, I would shoot him in the leg or in the arm. You only use a lethal weapon, which is a firearm, a lethal weapon. You only use a lethal weapon when you're in obvious fear for your life. When there's no doubt that that person is going to be killing you if you don't stop him. If you do this, if you shoot to wound someone and I'm the guy's lawyer, I will say, well, you were obviously not in real fear for your life. Why didn't you shoot center of mass to stop that person? If you had the time to shoot him in the leg, and you're not going to be stopping him entirely by shooting him in the leg, you're just wounding him, hurting him. What may end up happening is that it's going to be considered an abuse of the firearm. Purposely, I guarantee that if you shoot someone in the leg that broke into your house and you say, yes, I shot him in the leg on purpose, you're going to be paying that person for a very, very long time. You're going to be paying for his disability, for the pain you caused to this poor individual, this poor victim of society that just wanted a glass of water from you, and you, a complete nutcase, shot him in the leg. You are not in fear of your life if you shoot someone to wound. That goes without saying, it's very obvious. Finally, last point, avoid problems to begin with. Avoid stupid people, avoid dangerous places and bad habits. Don't associate with fools or dangerous guys, people that are always out there in some way, they always gravitate towards trouble. Avoid that kind of people. Don't be friends with that kind of people. Dangerous places. If you have to go every single weekend to bars where there's fights and such, eventually you will be involved in one. Even if you don't like getting into fights, if you go to places where they do take place, generally speaking, eventually you will find more problems. So avoid those places entirely. Bad habits. If you cannot avoid getting drunk every single weekend, if you have used drugs, that's the kind of thing that not only messes with your heads, it gets you into a social circle where problems are more common. So avoid that as well. Folks, that's basically it. Advice for every single one of you that owns a firearm in terms of what to do if you end up using it to save yourself. People, remember to subscribe if you're liking my videos. Take care, have a great day. See you on our next video.